Good evening, friends. I am Dr. Nishan Jua and I am presenting a paper on results of ORIF of intercondylar fractures of distal humerus using dual plating and its functional outcomes. Distal humerus fractures account for approximately 2 to 6% of all fractures and for approximately 30% of all elbow fractures. It has bimodal distribution. First peak is at 12 to 19 years of age and the another one is at 80 years or above. Younger patients are majority males, elder patients are majority females. Most common causes of these fractures are falls in elderly and sports injuries or road traffic accidents in the younger patients. Functions of the elbow joint are essential for performing day-to-day activities. Its complex anatomy, with its unique orientation of the articular surfaces and the adjacent neurovascular structures, makes its treatment a constant challenge to orthopedic surgeons. Management of distal humerus fractures has progressed from absolute conservative to open reduction and internal fixation, and more recently towards total elbow arthroplasty in elderly patients. Increased expectations and modern lifestyles of patients requires a systematic approach towards its treatment. Treatment goals being anatomic restoration of the articular surface, stable fixation, and early mobilization. The aim of our study was to evaluate the functional results and complications of the ORIF of distal humerus type C fractures. A prospective study was conducted for 2 years with 25 consecutive patients at our institute. On admission, careful history was elicited to understand the mechanism of injury, and careful examination was done, and neurovascular injuries were ruled out. Radiographic study using X-rays and CT scans were done, and the patients were classified according to AO classification. Our inclusion criteria were patients over the age of 14 years with closed intercondylar fractures of distal humerus AO type C presenting to us within 2 weeks of injury. AO classification states that extraarticular fractures are type A, type B fractures are intraarticular with one column involvement, and type C are intraarticular with both column involvement. All our patients were surgically treated. General anesthesia with or without interscalene block was given. Tourniquet was applied as high as possible. Patient was given lateral decubitus with the arm resting on the padded bar, which allowed 120 degree of flexion for easy visualization of the articular surface. Tricep splitting paratricipital or olecranon osteotomy approach was used. This diagram shows the implant assembly. First of all, a dorsal midline incision which was curved laterally at the olecranon tip was kept. After superficial dissection, ulnar nerve was isolated. Then deep surgical dissection was done. Initial fixation was done using K-wires and clamps. After that, intercondylar screw was inserted, and finally dual plating was done. Technical objectives of fixation were every screw should pass through a plate, it should be as long as possible, and it should have a hole in the opposite cortex. As many screws as possible should be placed in the distal fragment. Each screw should engage as many articular fragments as possible. Plate should be applied such that the compression is achieved at the supracondylar level. Plates must be strong and stiff enough to resist breaking or bending forces. Criteria for an acceptable reduction were restoration of Bowman's angle, intact both columns, anterior humeral line passing through the middle third of the capitulum, and intraarticular strap of less than 2 mm. After giving proper wash, drain was kept and closure was done. A posterior above elbow splint was given. Mobilization was started as per patient's comfort and fracture fixation achieved. Injectable antibiotics were given till 4th post-op day and oral antibiotics were given till suture removal on 12th to 14th post-op day. Regular follow-ups were done, initially weekly, later on monthly. Evaluation of results were done using Mayo's elbow performance scoring system. This slide shows a case of a 40-year-old male who presented with a history of RTA and with A.O. Muller type C1 distal humerus fracture. We operated the patient using olecranon osteotomy approach and dual plating was done. His 6 months Mayo elbow performance score was 100, which is excellent. Results of our study state that the peak age of incidence was between 24 to 33 years and the mean age being 40 years. There were 17 males, 8 females. There was no laterality predilection. Major causes were RTA and fall down. There was no major complication. Only one patient had local infection which was treated by oral antibiotics. MEPS scoring of 22 patients was excellent and 3 patients was good. There was no fair or poor result. Non-operative measures usually fails and ORIF is required. If it is delayed, then complications like soft tissue contracture, myositis ossificans, etc. may hinder the reduction process. We have compared our study with Jupiter and John series. Thus, from our study, we can conclude that intra-articular fracture of the distal end of the humerus treated by anatomical reduction and internal fixation with metaphyseal anatomical plates provides stable fixation which allows early mobilization with a low complication rate and excellent functional results. Thank you, friends.